Have you ever felt as if a heavy shadow follows you, fed by your own mistakes and failures? Today, we are going to unravel the 7 worst offenses, deep wounds that bind us to darkness and distance us from the light. Betrayal, envy, contempt, negligence, verbal offense, rejection, and injustice, these are not just words but chains that imprison us. Join us in this dark dive into biblical stories that illustrate these offenses and discover the liberating power of forgiveness, the only force capable of freeing us from these shackles. Shall we begin? Betrayal, the kiss of Judas. In the Garden of Gethsemane, under the cover of night, one of Jesus' most trusted disciples chooses the path of betrayal. Judas Iscariot, driven not only by greed but by a complexity of misunderstood emotions and decisions, approaches Jesus with a kiss. This is no simple gesture of affection, it is the signal for the guards to arrest him, a betrayal that would echo through the centuries as a symbol of deceit and profound treachery. This kiss was not just a betrayal of a man, but of everything he stood for: love, trust, and redemption. Like a sharp blade, this betrayal severed the bond between master and disciple, leaving an open wound that only forgiveness could heal. It serves as a dark reminder that, in our own lives, the betrayals we commit or endure can imprison us in a cell of regret and pain unless we find the strength to forgive, both ourselves and others. Judas paid with his life for his betrayal, but his final act is a poignant reminder: no matter how deep the wound, the possibility of redemption and forgiveness remains, if we only have the courage to seek it. Envy, the fall of Cain. The story of Cain and Abel, 2 brothers united by blood but separated by envy, is one of the earliest and most profound lessons on the divisions that envy can create. Cain, the farmer, saw his offering rejected by God, while Abel, the shepherd, had his accepted. It wasn't the rejection itself that triggered the disaster, but how Cain allowed envy to corrode his heart, turning into a dark shadow that clouded his reason and humanity. Driven by this green poison, Cain led Abel into the field and there, believing he was hidden from all eyes, unleashed his resentment through an act of extreme violence, the murder of his own brother. This offense not only broke the sanctity of human life, but also shattered the fabric of the family, leaving a scar that could never fully heal. Cain's story is a dark warning that allowing envy to control our hearts can lead us to commit acts from which we may never fully redeem ourselves. It is a call to guard our hearts and seek forgiveness and purification before the shadows of envy consume us completely. Contempt, the Pharisees and the Son of God. The Pharisees, guardians of law and order in a society governed by rigid traditions, frequently found themselves at odds with Jesus, whose teachings and actions challenged the established norms. This conflict culminated in one of the most painful expressions of contempt: the trial and condemnation of Jesus, a man who preached love and compassion above all laws. The Pharisees' contempt was not only rooted in their fear of losing power and influence but also in their inability to recognize the holiness and authority of Jesus' message. They chose to scorn rather than understand, to condemn rather than learn. Their actions mirror the times when, driven by pride and fear, we reject what is genuine and transformative, preferring to cling to the shadows of our own certainties. This act of contempt not only sentenced Jesus to the cross but also revealed how the human heart can be hardened by arrogance and resistance to truth. It is a stern reminder that contempt can blind our humanity, leading us to act in ways that betray our most sacred values. Negligence, the disciples in Gethsemane. On the eve of his crucifixion, Jesus sought comfort and prayer in the Garden of Gethsemane, a place of quiet before the storm that was about to unfold. He asked his closest disciples, those who had witnessed his miracles and teachings, to watch and pray with him. However, when he needed their support the most, he found them asleep, repeatedly, overcome by fatigue and unaware of the gravity of the moment. The disciples' negligence was not just a lapse in attention but a profound spiritual offense. It represents the times we fail to be present for those who depend on us, when comfort and support are most needed. The pain Jesus felt in Gethsemane was amplified by loneliness, a reflection of the moments when, consumed by our own needs and desires, we neglect to offer empathy and support to others. The lesson here is painfully clear: negligence can leave invisible wounds in the hearts of those around us, wounds we often fail to recognize until it's too late. It is a call to wake up, to be truly present, and to care for those around us with love and attention, especially in moments of greatest need. Verbal offense, Jesus and the words of accusation. Throughout his trial, Jesus faced a torrent of false accusations. Sharp words were hurled against him, each one laden with venom and contempt. These words were not mere statements, they were weapons used to wound, humiliate, and discredit. In that moment, the verbal offenses represented more than insults, they symbolized the chasm between truth and manipulation, between justice and corruption. The verbal offense, as seen in the trial of Jesus, is a powerful reminder of how words can become invisible blades, cutting through a person's dignity and integrity. In the midst of this verbal storm, Jesus remained silent, choosing not to retaliate with more words, but instead responding with the calm of someone who knows that truth needs no loud defenders. This episode teaches us about the strength and power of silence in the face of verbal injustice. It challenges us to think before we speak, to choose words that heal rather than hurt, and to always seek truth in our interactions, even when faced with the temptation to use our words as weapons. Rejection, Jesus and the cross. At the culmination of his mission on earth, Jesus faced the bitterest of human pains, complete rejection. Condemned by those he came to save, he carried his cross through the streets of Jerusalem, under the scornful and contemptuous gaze of the same crowd that, days before, had hailed him as a hero. The cross, a symbol of torture and shame, became the stage for his ultimate and most profound rejection. This moment is not just a portrayal of physical pain, but a raw exposure of the loneliness that rejection imposes. The cross of Jesus reveals the weight that human contempt can place on the spirit, and even in this extreme of abandonment and suffering, he found the strength to express forgiveness, showing that even the deepest rejection can be overcome by love and compassion. The rejection of Jesus teaches us a vital lesson: every time we reject someone, we leave a mark that goes beyond the visible. But it also reminds us that through forgiveness, we can redeem even the deepest wounds of rejection, restoring hope where there was only despair. Injustice, the crucifixion. The crucifixion of Jesus stands as the pinnacle of injustice, a scene of pain and suffering where human cruelty manifested in full force. Unjustly condemned, Jesus was nailed to the cross, an innocent man suffering the punishment reserved for criminals. The injustice of this act still echoes today as a dark reminder of how easily truth can be distorted and justice can be derailed. In this moment of extreme injustice, Jesus not only endured excruciating physical pain but also bore the overwhelming weight of carrying the sins of all humanity. Yet his response was one of forgiveness. "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do," are words that shine a light of mercy and true understanding into the darkness of injustice. The story of the crucifixion challenges us to look beyond appearances and seek true justice in our lives. It teaches us that even in the face of the worst injustices, there is room for compassion and forgiveness, and that these are the true forces capable of restoring order and peace. Conclusion. Throughout this video, we explored the 7 worst offenses: betrayal, envy, contempt, negligence, verbal offense, rejection, and injustice. These stories, though ancient, speak directly to the challenges we face in our own lives. They reveal how the shadows of our mistakes can imprison us, but also teach us that forgiveness is the key to liberation. The example of Jesus Christ, facing each of these offenses with unwavering love and forgiveness, lights a path of hope and healing for each of us. He challenges us to look beyond pain and resentment, to offer and seek forgiveness, so that we can free ourselves from the chains that bind us to darkness. I invite you now not only to reflect on the areas of your life where these offenses have taken root but also to take active steps. Ask yourself, where can I apply forgiveness? Where can I seek redemption? Remember, the path to the light always passes through a heart open to forgiveness. And if you found value in this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more reflections like this. Your engagement helps us continue bringing content that enlightens, inspires, and transforms. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos.